What's up, everyone? I am Shobo Peon. This is Chris Sigaty, Production Director for Starcraft II. To start off, can you explain to me your role in the development of Heart of the Swarm?
Sure, yeah. I'm production director on the game, so basically I'm a project manager. I work with Dustin, Sam Didier, who's the art director, and the tech director, Carl Chimes. And the four of us are the team leadership, but we have a lot of other leads on the team as well. But we form this union that tries to direct chaos, because we're not only working on Heart of the Swarm, we're working on also quality of life issues for Wings of Liberty players, as well as Blizzard All-Stars. So we have a lot of stuff going on with we're up to about 70, just over 70 people on the team, but it's a lot of different things, a lot of different times, and my job is to try and make sure that we're moving the ship in the right direction overall. So basically project manager summarizes my job, yeah.
Okay, so like you said, you wear a lot of different hats. One of the hats that is most important is Battlenet. Obviously, when Battlenet 2.0 first came out, it got a lot of pushback from the fans for various reasons. And I wanted to know, what was your reaction to their reaction to the way that they perceived Battlenet? And also, what are some of the important lessons that you've learned from Battlenet 2.0 going into Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah, so when we revamped Battlenet for Wings of Liberty, it was all new. So we basically redid everything, and I've read a lot of different perspectives on that. Why don't you have all the stuff you had in Warcraft 3? And honestly, it was a matter of when we stood up this whole new service. It's much more complex, and I know it doesnn't matter at all to the fan or the player. They want what they had, but tying into Battlenet accounts the way they are in the modern world that came about from World of Warcraft, where it's an actual login account this way. If you go back to Warcraft 3, there is no real Battlenet account there. It's just a much more complex system is all I can say. And so the complexity of it limited what we could do in the time we had. So we stood it up. We felt like we were doing improvements to the user interface, but that we didn't have all the features you want. We're speaking to a lot of those features now. What we've learned as far as that goes, there's a lot. One of the things that's extremely difficult, at least for us in this modern age, is World of Warcraft, living with D3, living with Starcraft. All of these things together are very complex. So us managing all of that, making sure that what we do with Starcraft II doesn't hurt or impact World of Warcraft, and that doesn't impact D3, and that whole infrastructure living together is just a complex world. So we're trying to, and we basically are standing up a lot of these features now on the team and trying to isolate as much as we can. You probably read some of the stuff that we talked about recently, things that were coming online that a lot of people are anxious for. Clans and groups, probably the biggest one. That's something that will go to both Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void, Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty players will get that functionality. So we've learned a lot. I think the biggest one is we have a huge list of stuff we want. We know the community wants a huge list of that. We're going to be a little more forward with what we're planning to work on. We recently just talked about 6 different things that we have coming up here along the time frame of Heart of the Swarm, and we're just going to be more forward with what's coming out so the community understands what's on its way.
One of the features that really interests me, and especially interests a lot of people involved in the esports scene, is the Reconnect feature. And so I'm wondering if you could talk about that, when that might be coming, and what sort of challenges are facing you with that.
So we don't actually have Reconnect on the agenda immediately. It's something we'd like to do, but it's a lot more complex. What we have immediately that we've committed to right now is called Resume from Replay. So it's somewhat similar. The primary point of it is to help on the esport landscape. When this happens, with some degree of frequency, a PC just takes a crap and basically blue screens or overheats or whatever might happen. Any situation where 2 players are playing and we would like to keep that game going, the point of it from an esport perspective is Resume for Replay will allow you to create a lobby, get that player back in, get up to the 11-minute mark before it happened at 11 minutes and 10 seconds and start playing again, so that you can see that actual match finish out or whatever. I mean, that's just one example. The cool side effect that we think is there is the opportunity for learning, practice, training, because theoretically you could take a game, let's say between MVP and MC, and take it up the 14-minute mark where MC was about to go do this cool thing, and now you get to try and do that. We're even talking about, I don't know that I don't want to commit to this, but we're talking about the AI could take over for that player. So if you and I were going to do it, great. You'll take over MVP, I'll take over MC, and I'm going to try and do it. And you say, dude, you screwed up. You're terrible. And yeah, I don't play protest. No. But the opportunity, if the AI is there, I don't have a friend online and I can try it. AI is not going to play like MVP for sure, but at least it allows me to try out some things. So we could see a whole entire landscape emerge from this, where you can have practice replays that are set up with particular times that I think can really help people learn and get into the game in new ways.
One last question about the Battlenet 2.0 is the one that's probably been theorized the most about, especially by people who have tech influence or have no tech knowledge at all, but that doesn't stop them from theorizing, obviously, and that's the LAN. And I wondered, what are the biggest challenges that made you omit LAN? Not so much, I realize it's obviously a big question, but is it the piracy? Is it the tech side? What are the biggest reasons for you guys?
Well, we feel like we want a connected experience. We don't want the isolated experience is one of the primary drivers. And the other side of it is piracy. I mean, honestly, Warcraft III was and still is one of the most popular games in the world as far as Dota goes. And it was basically played with sight unseen across all of that. And we basically stood around and waved at it. And so, yeah, piracy plays a factor in it, and it's something that is a reality, and we continue to talk about what we want is a great experience for our players, and we continue to work on it, and this resume from replay is a way to do that. But I know the question that really everybody is asking is LAN ever going to go into the game, and right now that's not in the plan.
Obviously, this is another thing that gets a big reaction around the community, and not just for StarCraft, but for Diablo. And is there anything unique? You just see it as a predictable reaction that players want this thing that really they can't have feasibly, or is it something that? What is your reaction to their reaction? Once again,
you mean, are you talking about
no LAN? Yeah.
I mean, I understand the desire. I know that there's a lot of people that passionately want it, and there are cases that are legitimate for it. But there also has played, I think, very well, and we've seen that you can run very successful esport entities like GOMTV, GSL, these events like this, and have it work just fine. So the argument for it these days is it's getting just, we've heard it for a long time and we know, but I still think it's being successful. Although I can still understand the perspective. For some people, they really want that opportunity when they're not connected. It's just we are only moving into more and more ability to be connected all the time. So I don't think the reasoning for it is increasing. If anything, it's decreasing. Although there still are times, especially in the esport landscape, where it would be nice. But we're at least at this point still in the camp that we're not going to be adding that.
One of the solutions always tossed around is to give a private client to tournaments. Is obviously, is there a worry that, first of all, it would leak out? Is that feasible in any way?
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's something we continue to talk about. I think I don't know if I alluded to this before, but we have this massive list of stuff we'd like to do. And we want to be more upfront about what we are going to do. And I recently, our team and I put together a post of some of the stuff coming out. We have other things on the list, and we've even talked about that. We call it internally Battlenet in a box. Would we ever do that? It's a possibility. There are concerns about that. Yeah, that same way that it could. You know, how do you protect that? What do you do? So we're still just continuing to discuss it and have committed to the stuff we've talked about so far. But there's other things like, here's another example of something that'd be huge that we haven't committed to, but it's on that list, which is replay sharing, or just being able to pin your replays up there and say, hey, here's a good one, would work really cool with resume from replay. It's something on the short list of stuff that we want to do soon after, but we don't have a date yet. There's a lot of, it's pretty complex knowing what we'll be able to get to when, because of all the different things we're trying to do. But we do want to deliver it all.
So to get to the actual game of Heart of the Swarm, what are your expectations for this build of the game? How close is it to the final build? Obviously, there's a lot of, it is just an alpha or pre-alpha, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of stuff out there that's getting a lot of big reaction from the community. So what's the proximity to a final version?
Well, the final version will be totally determined in beta. But we're going to listen to the feedback we get here at MLG Anaheim, and see if we need to make any more tweaks, assuming there's nothing that's just, oh, this is so broken that it has to be fixed. This is pretty much the balance that we want to put out there in beta. So we're a couple months away from heading into that. So we'll take a few weeks after this, test the build, get it ready, and then start heading into beta shortly after, or creating the builds that are necessary to go into beta. So hopefully that answers your questions. We think it's pretty good right now. We just want to see if there's something really abusive that comes up. And if not, then it will come out in the wash. We'll still run probably a 3-month beta, something along that line, to allow us to react to changes, put out a couple of patches that can react to some of the things we hear from the community after that.
So if it is that close, what else is left on the to-do list for you guys, major to-dos before?
Well, primarily there's still some stuff that we're not showing here. Probably the biggest one is there's several different Nidus Swarm updates to Zerg that we're not showing. Probably the most significant is one of the Nidus Swarm will have a couple of different forms, and one of them is basically a creep launcher, and it's a pretty cool tactic where you can basically put the yellow brick road of creep into the enemy camp if you Nidus Swarm out and rush in, which really changes up some tactics that Zerg can have. So we want to put the finishing touches on that. A lot of the stuff we're looking at right now with Widow Mine and that are placeholder art, we want to get that art ready and then get it out there to the public. React to some of the feedback we get now, and then that'll take us a few weeks, and then we'll start testing the build, making sure it has all the online, that there aren't any online specific issues here that need to be ready for beta. Then that's basically it, and then we'll head into it. So we want 1.5 though, which is the arcade beta that we have out there right now, to clear the way and then get into Heart of the Storm's beta after that.
Awesome. All right, we're about ready for MLG Anaheim to start, so I'll let you get out of here and watch some games. I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.